Welcome to Porch on the Prairie. I'm Megan and I live in a homestead in rural Minnesota with my husband and 4 small children. Today is Bee and Chick Day, so we will take you along on that adventure. First, I'll explain the hive setup, and then I'll explain how we get the bees into the hives. After that, I'll show you how we set up our chicks. My husband left bright and early at 5 a.m. to drive about 2.5 hours north to pick up 6 bee packages, and then he turned right back around and headed straight home. This is our 4th year with bees, and we were actually fortunate enough to have 2 hives survive this past winter. That can be really tough to do here in Minnesota, and brings us to 8 hives this season. My husband is the beekeeper, so he is the most knowledgeable when it comes to all things bees. Now there are a couple options for buying bees. There's what's called a nuke and what's called a package. The nuke is an established mini colony, so a queen, workers, brood or baby bees, honey and pollen stores, and several established frames. A nuke can be preferred for newbies because it gives you a sort of a jump start. We did not start with a nuke, so the first season we had bees, our bees had to build up the comb and hive, and therefore we had to leave any honey for them to live off of during the brutal winter months. They did not survive that first winter, unfortunately, so we did end up harvesting some of the honey, and then we purchased a couple of bee packages from Man Lake up north again. The package option, which we are doing here, and have done in the past, just includes loose bees in a box and a queen in a cage. Like I said, what we get is the bee packages. So yesterday, Tucker had set up all the hives. First, there's the hive stand to keep the hive dry and off the ground. This also helps airflow. We just use some bricks and old wooden posts. Next, for the hive itself, there's a bottom board and an entrance reducer. This controls the opening size and can protect the hive. Next comes the brood box, often referred to as the deep box. This is the largest box on the hive and is the main living area for the colony. The queen lays eggs here, brood develop, and bees store pollen and honey here. Inside the box are frames where the bees build up the comb, and the frames will hold brood, honey, and pollen. Next comes an inner cover for ventilation, and then an outer cover or lid to protect the hive from Mother Nature. The little plastic cage-like box is what the batch of bees come in. On one side, there's a container that looks kind of like a tin veggie or fruit can. That's food for the bees. You can see the hole in the top where that was removed from the bee package. Now we will show you step by step how to add your bees to your hive. After your hive is all set up and you're ready to add your bees, you'll want to first remove the lids from the hive. Then, remove a few frames from the deep box. You'll want to drop or tap the package a few times to get some of the bees away from that food hole opening, then remove the food can. Next, grab the queen cage and set it aside. Gently shake the bees out of the hole and into the hive. Try to get as many as you can out of the box and into the hive. Then, set the package in front of the hive. Add back the frames very carefully and grab that queen cage. There are a variety of queen cage styles, but in general, there's a cork that needs to be removed from one end, which is what he is doing here. He's twisting a screw into the cork to pull it out. He had also grabbed a mini marshmallow, so this will go in place of the cork. When pulling the cork and adding the marshmallow, be careful for the queen herself. Without the queen, the hive will not survive. You can see he covers the cork hole with his finger and then places the mini marshmallow. Now the queen cage needs to be hung from a frame in the hive. What will happen is the bees will eat the marshmallow and free the queen for her hive. The first year we had bees, I made the mistake of pushing the cork into the cage. Don't do that. It made it really hard to hang the cage without the cork falling back down to the hole and covering it. This is a problem because the queen needs to be able to escape from the cage to her hive. As you can see, there's a lot of bees, roughly 6,000 per package. Now that the bees are in and the queen is in, he is placing the inner lid and outer lid. If there's still feed in the can, leave that for the bees as well. It's actually pretty cold and windy here today, and has been lately, so we are patiently awaiting dandelions and other habitat to pop up for the bees. This taller hive here is one that survived the winter, the double-decker hive. There's another one on the other side of our shop. This is the setup we've had through the winter, a deep box, then a queen excluder, and a honey super. I'll talk more about that in my next video when we check on the bees next weekend. Here you can see he actually decided to add the honey super boxes without the frames so that the feed can sit in there for a bit. He will remove those next weekend, which we will show you as well. Okay, so now for the chicks. Last night we had also gotten our chick box ready with the intention of picking up chicks this morning. We currently have 3 roosters and 7 hens, so it is time. We would have used our incubator, but didn't want to end up with a crossbreeding situation, and Fleet Farm has Easter eggers in stock, which are my favorite for the colorful eggs. I dropped my oldest off at a play date, and the little 3 came with me for chicks. We also picked up Nutrina NatureWise Chick Starter Grower with 18% protein crumble, a 40-pound bag. For our setup, we just have a wooden box with a chicken wire lid, and a hole in the back for our heater cord to go through, as you can see in the back. You do need to keep the chicks near a plug-in so that you can plug in that heater. We've also laid newspaper in the bottom and have their food and water dishes ready to go. So I just simply transport the chicks from their carrying box from the store, and then make sure they have food and water and that their heat lamp is plugged in and they are all set. We keep the chicks in our garage so they're protected from the harsh elements. Here you can see our food system for the baby chicks. Just fill the jar and add it to the base. Chicks are messy, so we have 2 of these for the 10 chicks. Tuck had recommended just popping the bottom off, but PSA, it's actually way easier to unscrew the jar from the base completely. The heater should only be up high enough where they fit underneath nicely, so adjust the height accordingly. You don't want it super high in the air. Each morning and evening, I'll refill their water and food, and next weekend we'll probably switch them to a larger enclosure, so stay tuned for that. And I'll actually show you quick here how cute these little buggers are. If you're someone who's looking at getting started in bees or getting some chicks, I hope you found this video at least a little bit helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Lastly, I was given these two beautiful trees for Mother's Day, so we are going to get those planted, and we'll be back next week. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thank you for being here.